So something I realize the mistake I make in one of the sayings, like a lot of people say this, and it's all, I see people say this and also post either in for social media about this, so on and so forth, is the saying, do what makes you happy, you know. I realize lately that is totally hedonistic and relying on things outside you, not within you, to thinking that doing whatever makes you happy, whatever you feel, whatever you think that makes you happy at that point is somehow going to fetch you the state of happiness versus doing what's right, what feels right, more of the feeling. Okay, for example, let's say, I'm going to define this way, right? Like it all matters on the context, obviously. So my context is, let's say, for example, anybody, right? Let's say, hey, you have a certain budget, you know, and then within that budget, you can only go. Let's say you wanted, you can only afford one vacation a year, for example. So but hey, something is beckoning you, right? Hey, or you think, hey, I can still manage two vacations, but that will put you in a financial jeopardy. But then you think, hey, do what makes you happy. You do it. But the long-term ramifications is that can create bad habits of spending the money you don't have, right? For example, I'm kind of just throwing that out there as a simple example. So in your heart, you would know, like, for example, me, I know, like, for example, let's say I quit sugar. I did quit sugar, by the way. But there was a time when I was, still struggling with that, quitting sugar. And then there would be this moment of, I haven't eaten in a week or so. Let me do one indulgence, right? Well, I did this something, so I need a reward, right? Although I knew in my feeling that, nah, I shouldn't probably, right? I still ate it. And that's one of the other simple examples. There are other, bigger examples. I don't want to go rambling about it. But the bottom line I realized is if I do what's right, what feels right, eventually that does make me happy. Like quitting sugar right now, wow, it's awesome for me. I don't crave sugar. Not that I don't occasionally, once in a blue moon or once in a month or so, I might not indulge in a little bit of a treat if that, say it tastes good. But then if anything is too sugary, high on sugar, I can't tolerate it anymore. So the long term is I'm far happier with quitting sugar than if I was, getting into the temptation of, hey, just do what makes me happy. Hey, I did these great things. I did this great workout, or I did this, whatever great job at work or business, whatever the case is, right? I needed a treat. So sugar is my treat, right? Hey, it used to be the case that way, my case that way. Or drinking. That's another one, right? Used to be. So that's a bottom line. Now that I have quit that, now I realize, hey, wow, see, doing what is right or feels right eventually does make me happy or does make me more satisfied with what I did than the short term, whatever, I guess satisfaction, happiness it achieved. So that's where I realized that whole saying about do what makes you happy or makes you happy is wrong. That's too hedonistic and that too much on relying on things to make you happy. Somebody else, something else making you happy. Versus if you do the right things, then you will be happy. You don't need something to make you temporarily happy because all those things are temporary happiness. Now, I'm not saying, hey, go, you're trying to go achieve a big goal, big thing. That one is doesn't, result in a long-term happiness. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about short-term stuff, like going after everything that makes you happy. Like, oh, I don't know. Hey, I like this car, but how can afford, this car? But that car looks great. Oh, I'll do whatever makes me happy, Or hey, if you're in a relationship, right? And then something's happened, and maybe, most relationships are always not great, right? But if you get tempted and start flirting or doing something else outside the relationship to make yourself happy, then that's not going to be long term good for you. Hey, I've been there, so I know that too, the truth, right? That doesn't, the doing, that doesn't lead to happiness. Those are all temporary fixes, kind of like taking, I don't know, Band-Aid, putting a Band-Aid, and then you're going to rip off, but still the wound is still rotten there. That's what I've realized anyway. That doing what makes you happy is not always right. It has to also feel right. If it feels right in the sense that it feels like you're doing a, good thing, a long-term, view, all that stuff, then yes, I agree. Do what makes you happy. But the short term, like on the spot, like, oh, I'll just do this because it'll make me happy. That is leading down, at least for me, is leading me down a wrong path on relying on things outside my control. Anyway, that's my thought. Well, hopefully, well, let's see. Everybody disagrees. Let me know.